leads to a confusing thesis. The book offers a test. If you call it a case study, the specific case probably shouldn't be in the main title or aim. That keeps the focus broader.
Useful test. Can a case study be the main focus of a PhD?
Yes, absolutely. It provides deep insight, even if generalizability is limited. You just need to acknowledge those limits in your discussion and suggest future work to test wider applicability.
Be upfront about scope. The book also connects method and writing, especially around measurement.
Yes, often overlooked. You might detail your theory and method, but not fully justify how you measured key things. The food wastage model example shows us they needed to justify the metric for wastage and how it applied in practice.
And justify assumptions behind the measures.
Crucial. Expose and defend the assumptions inherent in how you're measuring things.
And ensure the data you collect actually addresses your hypothesis. Seems obvious, but maybe easy to drift.
Very easy. Collect data that directly helps test your hypothesis or answer your question. Avoid collecting easily available data that's only tangentially relevant. The examples of sport participation versus attendance or historical records not quite fitting the question illustrate this well. Focus on the right data.
Tight link between question and evidence. So, by the results analysis chapters, your core argument should be established.
Yes, building on your contribution chapter, you need to have justified your approach, addressed potential skepticism about your assumptions, like the thresholds for vegetable wastage reduction.
And look beyond just internal validity.
Right. Consider external value, generalizability. How does this matter beyond your specific study?
What should that key contribution chapter cover then?
3 things mainly. Positioning. Justify your approach, for example, case study, and the specific case. Method. Discuss method options. Justify your choice. Detail your design and measurement. Organization. Create a clear narrative flow for your new ideas, ensuring a clear link from question to data to analysis to outcome.
Positioning, method, organization. Got it.
Now, presenting the outcomes and results. This is where the data speaks, right?
Sort of. It's where you present the data. The book suggests a 3-part structure often happens. 1, how data was gathered, represented. 2, the data itself, the focus of the results chapter. 3, interpretation in later discussion analysis chapters. So results is about showing what the data looks like. What goes in the results chapter and what stays out? For quantitative or qualitative?
You need clear criteria for inclusion-exclusion. Jackie's work on food choices is a good example of managing complex data, deciding what's in or out based on clear rules, like Dawn defining meal episodes. Systematic organization is paramount: spreadsheets, categories, diagrams, no casual data management. The reader needs to trust your data.
Build trust through transparency and organization. Do you include all the data?
No, usually not. That would be overwhelming. Use representative examples, summaries, key analyses to persuade the reader of your conclusions. Select strategically.
Quality over quantity again. What should a good results presentation include?
What the results look like. Examples, graphs, tables, summaries of the full data set, notes on gaps, uncertainties, reliability issues, and maybe some initial analyses like descriptive stats. Also, maybe discuss data you didn't gather and why shows thoughtfulness.
Acknowledging limitations.
Yeah.
And the act of presenting results is part of the learning process itself.
Definitely. Organizing and visualizing data often reveals patterns you hadn't seen. Jeff's Cole research example, plotting results against hypotheses, even if interpretation isn't simple yet, helps both you and the reader understand.
Visualizing helps discovery. What's the heat analysis concept?
Hypothesis, evidence, analysis, threshold. It's a framework. Raw measurements aren't knowledge. Displayed results become information. Analyzing that information leads to inferences. Threshold is the point where you have enough evidence to address the hypothesis.
HEAT. Nice acronym. Jackie's food research again. How does she build her presentation?
By focusing on small, defensible units, trustworthiness of datasets was key. She used meta-analysis to reevaluate previous work, led to nuanced, well-reasoned results, not oversimplified claims.
Rigorous, step by step. And a warning about visuals again. Don't use basic tools poorly.
Yes, strong warning. Poor visuals undermine quality work and can stick around online. Avoid clip art, bad photos, cluttered graphs. Invest time in good software and design. The results chapter is still research happening. Writing it can spark new insights.
Professional visuals matter. Okay, final stretch. Discussion and conclusion. Synthesizing it all. The discussion should link back directly to the aim in the intro.
Absolutely critical. Examiners check this alignment. Your discussion interprets the results in light of your original aim.
And the case study issue generalizability needs addressing here?
Yes, in the discussion for a case study, you must discuss generalizability, what might apply elsewhere, what's specific to your case. Perla's example shows this. Ignoring it suggests you don't understand the method's limits.
Acknowledge the boundaries. Is some speculation okay in the conclusion?
Speculative, but not fanciful, yes. Sketching future research, mentioning incomplete work done well, it shows you understand the work's importance and limits.
Shows forward thinking. By this point, you should feel pretty good about the thesis. Lingering doubts are a bad sign.
Ideally, yes. Deep satisfaction is the goal. Big doubts might mean earlier problems need fixing.
What are the key rules for the conclusion chapter itself?
Minimal new discussion that belongs earlier. Tightly link the emerged themes and directly respond to the aim from Chapter 1. Test it. Read the problem statement, aim, and conclusion together. Do they form a coherent mini-story?
Good test. And distinguish summaries from conclusions.
Crucial difference. Summaries recap findings. Conclusions state the significance of those findings, what you concluded. Just summarizing the discussion chapter lacks closure and doesn't hit the main aim hard enough.
Don't just repeat. State the so what. The example of aiming to investigate properties often leads to just a summary.
Right. A good conclusion would state what those properties signify, what the implications are. Move beyond description to significance.
Okay. Discussion synthesizes, conclusion gives significance and closure. But finishing the conclusion isn't the absolute end, is it? Revision time.
Not by a long shot. Weeks of revision and checking still remain. Two big tasks. Revising based on feedback and checking all the details meticulously.
What's structural editing at this stage?
Looking at the whole thing. Does the argument flow logically from aim to conclusion? Has the aim drifted? Is there extra stuff for appendices? Are new insights highlighted properly? It's the big picture coherence check.
Checking the architecture. And don't just hand the first draft straight to the supervisor.
No. Ideally, you've had chapter feedback already. Do a thorough self-review first. A cleaner draft gets better, more focused feedback from the supervisor on the trickier issues. It's part of becoming independent, too.
Polish it yourself first. Then the detailed read-through for errors.
Yes. Meticulous check for spelling, grammar, typos, unclear bits, logic gaps. While reading, think about how each chapter contributes to the overall argument, especially the conclusions.
Catching small errors and checking flow. After that, a final check for bigger problems.
Right. Any major argument gaps still there? Misplaced material? Repetitions? Is the emphasis right on key conclusions? One last conceptual sweep.
Macro and micro checks. Then the dotting I's and crossing T's checklists.
The final, painstaking detail check. The book suggests using a literal checklist. Even text from published papers needs checking for how it integrates into the thesis flow and style.
What's on this kind of checklist?
Things like methods justified, hypotheses tested, case study approach justified, uniform style for headings, captions, numbering, major trends outlined, separate from discussion, findings discussed, recontribution, figure stables clear, self-explanatory, referenced, notes references formatted correctly, glossary placement okay.
Wow, comprehensive. And the reminder, it must be your work.
Absolutely fundamental. Proper citation for everything. If using co-authored work, ensure collaborators know and only include parts you are primarily responsible for. Use plagiarism checkers, but ethical engagement is paramount. Professionalism and ethics first.
Okay, final polish done. The book that looks beyond the thesis itself to developing as a researcher.
Yes, the degree is about transformation. From knowledge consumer to producer, dependence to independence, student to colleague, preparing you for professional scholarship.
How do researchers typically share work?
4 main ways: journal publications, conference presentations, talks and forums workshops, and academic seminars.
And the importance varies by field. Journals versus conferences.
Big time. Some fields prioritize journals heavily, others value key conferences or book chapters more. Conferences themselves vary too. Some have published proceedings, others are more about poster sessions.
What about writing books? For early career people.
Usually more for established researchers doing comprehensive work, but sometimes exceptional PhD theses get published as monographs. It can happen.
And long publication lists, always good.
Quantity can look impressive, but quality and valuable contributions from sustained research matter more for high-impact work. Self-promotion is part of it, but good results should drive publication, not the other way around.
Quality focus. Writing a paper versus a thesis chapter, different beast.
Yes. Papers are for a broader field audience, assume some prior knowledge. The challenge is telling a concise story, usually with less detail on lit review and methods than a thesis chapter needs for examiners.
Tailored to the audience. Joint authorship, especially with supervisors.
It's complex but common. Acknowledges the collaborative reality. Supervisors contribute guidance, ideas. Joint publication recognizes that shared outcome. Needs open communication about roles.
Clear communication needed. What about spoken presentations? Key principles.
Think conversation with educated friends. Informal but intelligent. Balance content and time. Have mercy on the audience. Use good visuals. Clear narrative. Engage them. Don't read scripts. Practice. Be clear on your message. Be honest about uncertainties. And never read notes aloud or turn your back.
Engage, be clear, practice. Finally, the broader graduate student experience. Developing beyond just the thesis.
It's about becoming an effective researcher overall. Skills like refereeing papers, great training for critical review. Knowing when to seek advice versus solving problems yourself, sign of maturity.
Understanding the research degree arc.
Yes, the initial exploration, the long middle routine work, the final intense push for completion. Managing distractions and stress in that final phase is key.
So developing skills, mindset, managing the process.
Exactly. Act like a professional researcher. Seek advice wisely. Work on weaknesses. Develop those presentation skills too.
Okay, what a thorough look at how to write a better thesis. We've covered understanding examiners, structuring, writing mechanics, building arguments, presenting results, final polishing, and looking beyond.
And that core message from the authors. Success often hinges on determination, careful work, learning from mistakes, maybe more than just raw brilliance.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening, think about which insights resonate most with where you are right now. How can you apply these ideas to your next steps? Remember, it's not just about the document, it's about your development.
And definitely check out the book itself for more detail, or explore thesis databases online for examples in your field.
You should now feel better equipped with clear strategies and insights to tackle your thesis with more confidence and focus. Thanks for joining us.